So I have finally arrived at like an overall worldview, I guess, or frame for looking at the world that I think works because it's very simple and beauty based rather than goodness. And almost more an images thing than like words or propositions or like moral values. Those they're so personal and everybody means a different thing by the words. Sometimes I just want to stop talking. But basically just fractals and like gestalts, centers, or sort of. So a gestalt is a whole that's greater than its parts. Classic example being a chair, I think. You could break a chair down into its individual parts, but a chair is both simpler and like it holds together and it's a thing. Yeah, that's a gestalt. Also, centers, like, because even gestalts are constructed this way, you know, you have sort of strong, like, central heart of the thing, and then it fades on the way out. And that's true of the categories that make up our minds, and it's true of even physical objects, and sort of reality, in Jonathan Pageau's words, lays itself out that way. The people who make me the saddest in the world are people who all they can see in Jonathan Pageau are his political views. Like, people, he's good, but anyway. And so that's kind of how I see it. It's like, it's all fractal patterns made of these different interactions of the different gestalts on different levels, which gets very complicated. And I think it's infinite, up and down. It's turtles all the way down, fractals all the way down. But tying into this is, wait, is that clear enough? Yeah, because then you have this sort of gradient from physical to spiritual. So you have like that gradient, and then you have different patterns that sort of span across that. And something like words, I mean, what is the deal? What is the deal with words? When I think about it deeply enough, it's like, incredibly powerful, whatever that's doing to, I don't know, space-time. Because I think, like, space and time and meaning are like one field, isn't it? And then there's the different patterns in that field. The real scientists would hate me for this because I'm doing what they get mad at people for doing, but I am a poet, so I don't care. By which I mean, I like concepts like quantum field theory at a very high level, basic image sort of level, at which I can grasp what they're talking about. But I then take that and then go and transfer it metaphorically to all kinds of other. But it's useful. It's a useful concept, I think, like fields and the different centers, and I guess humans, at least in this world, from our point of view. I mean, really, which we are humans, so it is our point of view. So it's fine. Humans from our point of view, obviously, are the centers of all of the patterns. Humans and words, because there's a connection between people, humans, and words, because they're both sort of bodies. Yeah. So I guess another way to say gestalt or center is body, in the sense of, well, the Lord of Spirits podcast definition is like a nexus of powers through which you interact with the world. That's fair. And then also, like, I don't know, like, I'm trying to get to that point where you have thoughts that are best expressed in music, because I see it moving this way. Like, I used to think very verbally, and then I'm moving, like, into more images now, and just general schemas, and almost feelings as well. It is all connected, resulting also in a difficulty articulating myself. But c'est la vie. And then, which I guess is where little children are, except now I'm on like a deeper level of that, or there's more going into said images and feelings. That's all about what it is. You put more and more and more into it. You come back around to the same points, but it's like more every time. Deeper. Okay. Fractals, fields, centers, gestalts, bodies. The different levels or gradients. And then, yeah, music. Because I know the language that I'm using, the images that I'm using is like almost where you could, but I don't have enough musical experience or knowledge, and also I'm just not that smart yet to fully like make that transition. And I want to, because also it would let me understand math, and I really don't. What I was trying to make this video about was angels, because in that view of things, in the fractally harmony view of things, in the divine vision of things, angels. So, like, say that you conceptualize the cosmos as one whole, like symphony or a piece of music. Although I don't know how time factors in. Music also has a lot to do with time, and I'm trying to understand time. Well, but as a symphony, angels would be like individual notes or chords in that harmony, right? And this is for, I guess this would be to an audience, somebody who comes from like a Christian or wait, any kind of religious background, because they all have some concept of spirits. whether that be gods, or just like spirits in general, or angels, or however. So, from a Christian perspective, the whole symphony would be like, I guess, the Logos or Christ. From like a Pierre Théo de Chardin Christian perspective. And then basically, I think it's helpful to think of angels as like individual notes or chords or patterns, which is like everything, right? I mean, reality exists by all of these interlocking patterns. So that makes some sense of some of the more theological claims about like angels being everywhere and also them being messengers, like connecting, and also them having different fields of domains and different fields of influence, and being disembodied or being like just all of this. It kind of makes just like patterns. So like the agents of this communion by which creation exists. Also, in a verby sense, habits, which are also patterns of action. And also make sense of the thing about that humans sort of host angels, or I really need to sort out whom I'm talking to in these videos, because, I mean, like, you'd have to almost be me to make sense of the vocabulary I'm currently employing. Okay, but, like, what I'm talking about in neutral terms. It's like the cosmos is this whole symphony. The category that I'm trying to bring out are like what would be the different threads or like notes or chords in that harmony. So patterns, whether those be patterns of behavior or literally like mathematical, I don't know, patterns that you see everywhere, or just historical cycles. I don't know, there's so many patterns. And patterns connect things across space and time, and people across space and time, and can be increasingly more complicated. And so then, as far as, you know, in the Christian or in several other theologies, the world is fallen and the evil, you know, the demons have taken over, or it's fallen to and that really, I started to understand that in a new way when I started thinking about it, like, okay, so we have essentially discords or like tangles in the threads, and that would be a fallen angel or a demon or an addiction or like a bad habit, something that has usurped its proper place, so that instead of supporting the unity of the whole and like the harmony of everything, this pattern gets out of balance and like out of place and takes over. So like I'm sounding really almost authoritative right now, like everyone must conform, and I don't mean it like that. Politics comes into everything. But if you start looking around, I guess, or I started looking around and seeing like, wow, how much slavery to bad patterns there is, or addiction to bad patterns there is, all around. It's mostly just like some lenses that if you put on, oh, things start making sense.